I'm sorry, I had to get my thoughts together because. Wow. What's up, guys? Mason Brock Henderson here. This is Legion Season 1, Episode 5, Chapter 5. Shows like this, there are a few shows like this that I've had to review before. Not specifically like Legion, this is a very unique show. But just the style of it, in that it's a running storyline, it's a little bit longer episodes. With Fargo, with the Netflix Marvel shows like this, it's like I have to think about it for a second before I actually go into a review because I'm worried I'm going to miss something important because not only is there a lot of information, most of it's really important. Like there's not a scene that I'm just like, yeah, that contributed nothing. Whether it's style, whether it's actually story building, whether it's character building, whether it's little subtle Easter eggs that are kind of like, ooh, hinting back to something else that's happened. So much happens in these episodes, and I feel like I miss at least half of the stuff. I want to put an apology on this video. If I miss something important, just let me know in the comments because I want to get through everything. I want to be able to talk about everything because there's a lot of really, really good stuff in here. So first of all, let's just have a brief run through the story. We see after last episode's debacle, Carrie is she's alive, but she's struggling. The other Carrie manages to get the bullet out of her. So we see that she's alive but not doing well. But we see a new kind of David in this episode, and I think that's probably the biggest, most interesting point in all of this is that David almost feels like a new character after what happened in the astral plane last episode. Just he seems so much more confident. He seems so much more like I know what I'm doing. I know these powers are mine, and I accept that. And he's not the same old like oh no we can't go there. We can't do that. Now he's just like yeah I'm gonna go save my sister. Suck it. It's different and it's such a brilliant way to show him, because I love it whenever actors or actresses have to take their characters to somewhere completely different and be somebody completely new. Um, Whenever that happens, it's so much fun to watch. And so seeing David as this new sort of upbeat, confident, I know what I'm doing, I got my shit together, David, is a lot of fun. But we see he manages to like it's almost like he has control of the astral plane now, so he manages to take Sid to this room where they can finally be together. But of course we see in doing that it's almost like he's letting in the devil with the yellow eyes. He's letting that demon or whatever it is take over him because it's almost like his ability to sort of squelch his powers and kind of push them down also contributed to him pushing that devil down as well. And so it's like whenever he releases those powers, he releases the devil too. So it's kind of interesting seeing that. And we find out in this episode, according to Carrie, apparently this is not connected to his powers. I've been wondering that the entire season. I'm like, so is this the reason he has powers, or is this something extra? According to Carrie, this devil has nothing to do with his powers. He has the power. He already has the ability to be telekinetic, but this demon got in, and if it weren't for the fact that he had powers, it probably would have already killed him. So, seeing that now that he's releasing his powers, it's also releasing that inside of him is very interesting to see how it's all sort of. We start to see a lot more just how powerful both of them are. We see Carrie's looking over the video footage of when he was in the MRI machine before he got sent and teleported out of the building. And so we see David freaking out because apparently the kids are not just in his head, like even Carrie could hear them through the computer. And then all of a sudden like the screen starts glitching and you see the devil pop up and all of a sudden you see young David pop up. And it's like the devil is actually messing with the video feed itself and creating false images in there. And so that's when Carrie kind of realizes that's why David doesn't remember those moments because the devil actually rewrites them in his mind. So that's very interesting. It's a very interesting concept, and also it explains a lot of why Ptonomy was having so much trouble whenever they got to those memories. So I love how that all connects. But ultimately, we do have a scene where David goes for his sister. The team shows up a little bit behind and just sees the destruction that David left, and we get to see some very interesting. I wish we could have actually seen it firsthand instead of like through the grainy images of the security camera. But we see David like just going through and just knocking people aside. He just kind of goes, and all of a sudden everybody just appears inside, like melted into the ground. There was one scene that just, I don't know, it was so funny but yet really kind of sick and twisted because he just like looks at the camera like, and then all of a sudden these guys come around the corner, start shooting at him. He just goes, and they like bang against the wall, and all of a sudden like they're dropped to the floor, and they're gone. And he just like does a little heel click and walks on. I'm just like, okay, this is a really different David. And then all of a sudden they go to another screen, and the devil is the now like almost pretty much taken over his body, and now he's the one tearing the facility apart. And so what this all leads to is David gets his sister, takes her back to their house, just because he knows that she knows something. I guess Lenny, the Lenny in David's mind, is convinced him that she knows something that he needs to know. And so he and Lenny kind of, it was kind of a bizarre scene because at one point I'm like, so is this David doing this, or is this the devil convincing David to do this, or is this the devil doing this using David to, I don't know exactly who's responsible for the interrogation that happens, but Lenny comes out of the mirror and starts talking to her, and then shows her that she's not just Lenny. It's also David. It's also Kane the dog. It's also the angriest boy. So it was kind of a very interesting and sort of trippy scene as well. But ultimately, we find out that David was adopted, which I kind of figured. I've heard somewhere. I don't know if this is true or if this is something that just I've heard that he's Professor Xavier's son. I don't know if this is like the new comics, if that's what they've written into the comic series, but if that is true, I figured this family that he's with probably wasn't his real family, but this is him getting confirmation of that. So we see he's obviously very upset by this. But here comes the team to find David and his sister. The eye is right behind them, so you know something bad's about to happen. And we ultimately have probably the most interesting scene in this entire episode, which is the entire house scene. I mean, completely silent at first. Like, no talking, no music, no sound whatsoever. And I'm just like, okay, clearly this is building to a jump scare. It is. But it was very creative in how they did it, and even after, like, the world's angriest boy runs past, and of course you hear the dun sound, it's supposed to make you jump. It made me jump. This is why I don't do scary movies or anything like that, because dealing with that for an entire movie of just like no sound, dun, it gets annoying. But they used it very effectively here, because even after that, even when the creepy music starts playing, still no talking. There's still no noise coming from them. It's all the music from the show itself. So it was just a very creative scene, and the way they handle all of it. And then ultimately, Sid gets the room where David and his sister are. Amy, I gotta remember her name, Amy. And so she gets in there and she starts trying to talk, and Lenny jumps in. It's like, hey, and she's talking, but the way they did it is like they kind of altered her voice. Like, even though she can now speak, it's still not fully coming out because David or the devil, whoever's doing it, is creating this sort of sound altering thing. And so ultimately, Lenny as the demon, I don't know. Some of this gets really confusing, but starts like taunting Sid, and, like making out with David, just like you corrupted him, and all of a sudden the demon's voice starts coming out of her. She's like, okay, this is creepy. And then everybody comes into the room and sees Sid and David just standing there like nothing happened. And then the eye breaks in as I don't know who the guy is. He's the metal bender, I guess. He's the one that tosses the door aside and was throwing rocks around when they helped David escape in the first episode. But he comes in as that guy and starts shooting. And all of a sudden everything freezes. Sid and David come together and then they escape to the White Room. Where it's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess now they're safe. Not quite. Here comes the devil coming after Sid, but David's frozen in place because the devil is like taking over him, and so he can't really move. But then it's like the fact that it's attacking Sid creates, I guess, enough of an umph for David that he just somehow uses his powers. I don't really. I'm assuming this is all going to get explained, but all of a sudden they're back in a mental hospital, and everybody is like they're all there. Lenny is there, the Eye is there, even the entire team is there. So yeah, everybody's now back in the mental hospital, and it's almost like reality is altered to where now they're all mental patients, and I don't think anybody remembers what happened. I don't know where this is going, but it's so exciting. I mean, just all of the build up, all of the intensity of it. It's really just a fun show to watch and get invested in and be like, what's gonna happen next? Where are you taking me next? It's a lot of fun, and they're utilizing everything so well. Some of the scenes that stood out to me the most, aside from obviously the house scene, because I think that one just it sticks out because of how creative it is and how they use everything. Um, but some of the scenes that did stick out, one was the scene where they're infiltrating the base and Sid and Ptonomy come across Dr. Kissinger. And seeing that he's almost kind of lost his mind, I don't know if that'll come back later, but we see, like, they're asking him where Amy is, and he's just like, oh, they take her to the room with the lights. It's just like, let me out. And then they just kind of walk away, and he starts banging his head on the glass. He's like, bitch. So I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, if that's just something they kind of threw in to show, oh, his time in captivity made him crazy. Another thing is I kind of like the whole scene where Lenny was talking to Amy, and we kind of see that I feel like this confirmed it, but I'm still not entirely sure. It almost feels like they're saying that all of these people, Lenny, Benny, the dog, the world's angriest boy, all of them were different representations to David, like physical representations of the demon with the yellow eyes, the devil with the yellow eyes, whatever it is. So I don't know if that's confirmed. I still don't know if Lenny was a real person, if Benny was a real person. Amy already said they never had a dog, so I don't know. Obviously, the dog wasn't real. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if that's going to be confirmed or not, because another thing that I've kind of been wondering the entire season is what's been real, what's not been real. Um, the whole, obviously, the fact that they're now in the mental hospital. Lenny is there, so is this the real Lenny or is this the devil again? The Eye is there as well, and I still want to know, is his power just, oh, he can turn into other people? Because if that's the case, shouldn't his power and Sid's power kind of neutralize each other? Because it looked like Sid was still able to use her power on him last episode. So I'm wondering if it's like anybody he sees he can turn into or something along those lines. I don't know. But yeah, I'm curious to see what his story is, and they talked about him a little bit at first when Melanie and Carrie were talking about building the facility and how he was a part of it, but he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So I want more expansion on his story as well. But all in all, I mean, like I said, there's just so much going on, and it's all good. It's all exciting, and now we have kind of a cliffhanger to build up to the next episode, and it's kind of disappointing that there's only 8 episodes in this season, because I want to see more and more. I don't want to see so few episodes. I want to see a ton of episodes like this because they're doing such a good job with it. They handle everything very well. Every episode is exciting, but there's also that kind of quirky element to it that makes it fun to watch. There's also a little bit of intensity in some scenes in every episode. There's also the little bit of they didn't really get into the horror slash thriller element until like the past couple episodes, but it's still, I mean, it's thrilling when you're in those moments. It's thrilling when you're in there. Sid sees that world's angriest boy run by and then sees him run up the stairs, and she goes after it and just like, Sid, no. So yeah, all of it's a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what they do next. I don't even have any theories, at this point. Normally I'd be theorizing about what it all means. I'd be theorizing about certain elements, the devil, David's powers, Lenny. I would love to theorize about it, but honestly, I don't even have a really good working theory. Most of what I've said, my ideas, have just kind of been like, oh, maybe. But I honestly have no clue. And that's so much fun for me whenever a show manages to tell a story and leave me kind of clueless. Even though we've been talking about it for 5 episodes now, 5 episodes in, I still really don't have a clue about what exactly is going on. They confirm some things, but overall, still kind of like what is real and what is not. So all of this is just, it's so much to take in, but it's a lot of fun. I'm really loving it. Hopefully it continues. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how they're all going to get out of this situation they currently find themselves in. If there's going to be some point where they realize, oh wait, none of this is real, or maybe it all is real. Maybe this is the new reality now that Dave has created because his powers can somehow create realities. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to watch. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And like I said, if there's anything I missed, let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Legion reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.